Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. My name's Cassidy. If you don't know me, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm so grateful. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about the past 4 weeks of my life because they were insane. If you didn't know this, I am training for my first Ironman. Races got canceled this year, obviously, because there's like a global pandemic. But I wasn't ready to throw away 8 months of training, so I'm still doing it on my own time, and it's gonna be wild. But basically, these past 4 weeks, 4 weeks, were my volume ramp up. What that means is that I was doing a stupid, ungodly amount of volume to basically build up my lactic stores and to build up, my legs, endurance, all that fun stuff. And so now I'm kind of on the downhill slope, and so I'll talk about how I'm feeling there because that was actually a pretty big shock. But yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why I'm making this video. The first one is because everything I'm going to talk about in this video, I've gotten so many questions about, like literally from why are you doing this, to how are you getting through it, to what do you think about when you're doing it, to recovery, to eating, like all of that. But I also wanted to talk about it because I think it's a pretty cool thing. Like not everyone does this, and it's pretty underrated, so I just wanted to talk about it, maybe motivate some people out there, because like I've said in some of my past videos, I am not some sort of, genetically insane athlete. Like I'm just a normal 19-year-old girl chasing a dream, and what I did in these past 4 weeks was based off of pure determination. Yes, I went into it being strong and having like, a foundation of training, but yeah, I really want to motivate some people, and I really hope I can do that through this video. So if hearing me talk about this, if you don't want to hear me talk, I definitely don't blame you. I couldn't even imagine what it was probably like, seeing me on YouTube, because I wouldn't want that. Anyways, if that sounds interesting to you, stick along. I will be so grateful. If not, have a fantastic day. I'm going to tag my Instagram probably on the screen if I can figure it out. If not, it'll be down below in the description box. Have a great day, and let's get into it. I'm becoming a coffee person, and I don't think my body likes me for it. But you know what? It is what it is. Can't do anything about it now, right? Okay, so if you're still here, God bless you. You are amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Fair warning, I am a rambler, so we're just gonna, stick it there. All right, ladies and gents. So the first thing, numero uno, is what the ramp consisted of. So basically, before it started, I believe my first day was June 25th. I don't know, somewhere around there. But basically before that, how I set up my weeks is I always have 3 swims, 3 bikes, and 3 runs. So basically my runs were always in kilometers. It was 10, 10, 20, or 21, depending, because 21 is a half marathon, so sometimes, glory. And then my rides were always 40, 60, 120. And then my swims were just with the bands before I ended up getting the beautiful and glorious opportunity to get back into open water. I'm so excited. So basically this ramp up was pretty intense. Basically the first week was the first shift, obviously. And then within the ramp, it still kept building, but from my original training to the first week was like that initial huge jump. So to basically break it down how much it went up, so for cycling, my 40Ks stayed the same. I kept it as a time trial just to kind of get my legs going, just fast, like 40K for me, I usually hold like 33, 34 kilometers per hour. So it was around, an hour. So it was just super quick, boom, 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 to the point. Next up was my 60K. My 60K got bumped up to 100K. So an extra 40K, which it wasn't bad, but it was still, hour and a bit jump. And then my last one was another 40K bump up. It went from 120 to 160, a full century. So yes, I was doing that every week. And then for my runs, I kept my 10, 10, 20 or 21. The thing that changed with my runs is I added in things called bricks. So a brick is a run workout right off the bike. So you basically finish your cycle, get changed into your running gear, get shoes on, compression socks, and then water belt, stuff like that. And then you are out the door, and it's usually like a 10-15 minute changeover. So very quick, very painful. So throughout the 4 weeks, my cycles stayed the same. So that distance didn't change. But the bricks did. So what kind of made the ramp up harder was what distance I ran my bricks at, if that makes sense. So the first week, I did a 5K brick. So just a normal 5K run right after my 100K cycle and my 160. So that hurt. The following week, it bumped up to a 10K brick after both the 100 and the 160. The third week, I kept my 10K brick on the 100, and I didn't have a run at all after my 160, which was incredible. And then my last week was a 10K time trial brick after both. So that means all out. Whereas on like my first and second weeks, I was just kind of, feeling it out, just making sure I can go through the motions. Because if you've ever jumped on a trampoline and then gotten right off and jumped on the sidewalk and how gross that feels, that's exactly what it feels like to get off the bike and start running. It's horrible, and your breathing freaks out. Your body is basically just like begging you to stop. So you got to get used to it. Not much to add in for swimming. It was what it is. Pools obviously still aren't open. So my first and second weeks, I did like band work, and then the third week was when I was able to start open water swimming. So I was doing around like 22 to 2,700 meters each time, just, getting used to it, getting back into the flow. I haven't actually swam since beginning of March. So, and I'm not a strong swimmer. I can race and whatnot, but swimming will never be one of my best disciplines. Yeah, so, I don't know, easy peasy. Pfft. That's what the ramp consisted of. Okay, so next thing I wanted to talk about was, sorry, I have my little notebook here. How I fueled for each day. So I do use supplements. I got into them because I started heavily lifting weights around February of 2019. And I kind of bulked from there on. And really, as ashamed as I am to say it, I got extremely addicted to pre-workout. So as of right now, I am 2 weeks clean. But yeah, so I only ever had one scoop a day, and it was only it was fine. I'd only have it when I was working out, but it was one of those things where in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, I can't do this without pre-workout, even though I totally could because it was a cycle. I use that for the first little bit. And then the main thing I use is liquid L-carnitine. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I love it. So it's basically this, how do I explain this? It's like a liquid. Well, it is a liquid, and it basically helps your mitochondria, and it helps transfer fat from the stores into energy. It's a very highly rated supplement, especially for endurance athletes, because it helps you use your fat stores while you're working out. So I really like that. I can actually feel it working, so that definitely helps. I take that. What else do I take? I take protein for recovery. Protein is so important, but I'm going to get into that once I start talking about recovery. And then, yeah, other than that, it was just more based off of my diet and what I was actually putting into my body meal-wise. I lied. I also take amino acids. I have those every day, like BCAAs. Love them. I love to sip on them. Like if I'm going for a long run, I'll have like in my water belt, I'll have a bottle full of water and a bottle full of the Majiggies, the BCAAs. And then whenever I'm cycling, I always have 2 bottles for my 60. And then anything higher than that, I add usually a bottle per like 30K. And I always have my water and my BCAAs. Those are like my normals, and then after that I add like Gatorade and endurance crap and stuff to make me not die. So now that I'm telling the truth, for meals, so basically before the ramp up, I was able to fast before all of my stuff, so I wouldn't have breakfast. I would just have my coffee and then just, go out and do my thing. But because this ramp was so intense, it was like that morning, it wasn't like I needed to fuel, but it was for the day after, if that makes sense. So if I didn't fuel properly and treat myself properly during that day of training, I would be destroyed the next day, like not even being able to move. I have not experienced this in this period of time. I've experienced it in the past, and my dad, who is an insane Ironman athlete, has experienced it, and I have seen the worst of it, and I don't want to go through that. In mind that I'm still on, my weight loss cut, but also keeping in mind that I am burning so many calories and actually need good energy for my training days, I kept my meals super simple. So it's now a ritual. I am in love with these bagels. Steve bought them for me, and I'm addicted. They're like maple French toast bagels. Oh, so good. So I have one of those toasted with a little bit of butter with my coffee every morning. I had it every morning through training. Now I switched to fruit because, I'm trying to cut out carbs. Not completely, but, comfortably. What would I have? So on days that I didn't work, I would usually make like either a tuna salad, or some days I wouldn't even eat lunch just because of how my training landed. So like on my, 7-hour days, I wouldn't eat lunch because my body would just be like, no, thank you. And so I just drink a lot of, liquids, Gatorade, all that stuff. But if I was working, I would make a smoothie, and then I would like a protein smoothie, and then I would pack a bottle of BCAAs, a bottle of more protein powder, and then usually for dinners, doesn't matter if I was working or not, I would usually have like vegan chili. I'm not vegan, but it's just, easy. So there's that. My dad makes a killer chana masala. Don't know, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Super good, adds quinoa, 10 out of 10. Or I'll fry up tofu and like salsa and a bunch of different spices. Just super simple, low calorie, but also like good natural food that I'm putting into my body that I know will fuel me. I very much stayed away from pasta because I believe in carb loading, but I don't believe in carb loading for training, because I feel, for me at least, if I put a lot of carbs into my body, I bloat, I feel gross, and then it just sets me up poorly for the next day. There are other ways that I can get my energy, and pasta is not one of them. Of course, I would add salt onto like everything. I'm not the type of person that ever adds salt, never has been, probably never will be, but I was literally like, I don't like it. But I was doing it because I was sweating out so much. I was losing so much salt. Like literally after, especially my cycles, my bike shorts would be white from just like the salt that I sweat out. It was disgusting. But yeah, so I would always add salt onto everything, make sure my body was fueled with electrolytes so that I wasn't depleted in anything. Oh, I also had a lot of beets. So my dad would actually, I don't know how he made them. I am very not smart with this. But anyways, they were hella good. And so I had that for iron because I'm not anemic, but again, you can never be too sure. Wow, I feel bad for you guys. I'm getting sick of hearing myself talk. My God. Moving forward. So, some of you might know what this is. Some of you that probably don't. Those of you that don't, you're lucky. As you may have guessed, the next thing I want to talk about is recovery. Recovery is so important, especially because of like the amount of stuff I was doing. Recovery is important no matter what you're doing. But because I was loading so much each day, I needed to be ready. I didn't have a chance to be sore. I couldn't be tired. I couldn't be like anything. I needed to wake up the next morning and have my body be like, F yeah, we're doing this. Like, you know, I didn't want to use profanity. I'm so sorry. Many questions I've gotten is how did you manage to not feel tired? That is because of what I was eating, how I was recovering, and how I was sleeping. Sleep is so important. You need your sleep. So for recovery, I would have 2 scoops of protein every single day. I would have it, my cookies and cream in my protein smoothie, and then I would have another one in just like, you know, water. So I would have that every single day. That helps insanely. I don't know how to explain it. I know protein works, but oh my God, I did not think it worked that well. Definitely helped. I would also roll, and then I would also use a foam roller. I used an inversion table. If you know, it basically I'm sorry. It clamps around your feet and then you flip upside down and you hang like a bat, and I love it. It makes me a little uncomfortable because I'm always scared that I'm gonna get stuck upside down and not be able to get back up. But you know, that's minor. That's just Cassie being stupid. So love that. That also helps with my back. I am one of those people that has 80-year-old back problems at literally 19 years old. So yeah, like I have to stretch on my cycles. It's not good. But anyway, so that helps with that. That also helps with my legs, and lactic acid flushes them. Very, very good. I also love baths. So my parents wanted to shoot me. I'm living with them right now. So I'm not paying the water bill, but so I would have a bath not every day. I wanted to every day, but I'm pretty sure Steve would shoot me. But I would have a bath with Epsom salts, and I don't know if Epsom salts actually work. I've been told that they do, so I just kind of put them in, and you know, like, I've never had anything bad happen, so why not? But I find that the bath kind of like, you know, helps me to relax. It helps my brain relax too. And that is one of the big things about recovery. It's not just about your body, you know, making sure your muscles aren't tired and blah, blah, blah. It's also about your brain. You need to be able to recover your brain and get it set for the next day. And some of my favorite ways to do that I would totally recommend for other people, is the first one is basically writing down, you know, what you did and how you felt about it. So I keep a training log. I'm very inconsistent with this because I am very lazy when it comes to this, ironically. But I keep a training log. I write down, you know, what I did, and then for whatever reason, seeing that on paper or on my laptop, it just I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like it validates it in my brain, like, heck yeah, you just did that. Like, whereas in the moment when you finish, it doesn't feel like you actually did that much work. You know what I mean? And for me, that gave me, that gave me confidence, and that gave me kind of more reassurance, like, okay, I did this today, I'll be able to take on tomorrow, no problem. And that's so important, is to be able to look at the next day and not be afraid, maybe a little intimidated, but not to be afraid, and to know that you can do it. So the next thing that I would do is very much linked, but I would write down 3 to 5 things that I thought I did great that day. And I would relate it to training, just because that was like the main thing. If I had something at like work or anything around, I would add that in, but obviously it was mostly training specific. So for instance, on my second week, I did my very first 160K ride and 10K brick, which made it, at that point in time, that was my longest training session ever, like, of my life. So that day I wrote down, how proud I was to have been able to do that, how happy I am that I was light enough to do that, how I did it with no injuries, just like that kind of thing. So basically setting yourself up for the next day to be proud of what you did the previous day, which helps fuel the next day. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, that's enough about recovery, because this is starting to get long. So, but honestly, I don't even care. I don't have anything better to do today. I just have to wipe old people bums later. But you know what? That's fine. I'm a healthcare worker. So that's... One of the last things I want to talk about, there's one after this, but they're both pretty linked. So is how I felt throughout my training, because I will promise you, I didn't wake up every single day thinking, yay, I'm so excited to be on my bike for 6 hours and then go for an hour-long run where I'm going to be dying the whole time. That is so false. And anyone who ever says that is easy, they're lying. So then how did I feel through it? So most days, I will admit, I woke up and I was excited. I felt like this is the first week where I haven't felt like it. But for most of my training, I felt like I was just on this insane adrenaline rush, mostly because I was finally testing my body and pushing myself to limits I've never pushed before. So I was really excited to be able to do that. And then I was more excited to be done that training and think, holy frick, I just did that. Now let's see how fast I can go. You know what I mean? So my brain always works in goals, and as soon as I accomplish something, I need to go next up. That's why I'm running an Ironman at 19 years old. Because I knew that this training was going to be a lot, I definitely didn't go like balls to the wall for every single session. Yes, I worked hard, but it was more just getting the hours in. So for the first 2 weeks where I was kind of feeling out what was going on, it was slow. Like, I was still, like, my times were good considering the amount of volume I was doing, but had I been doing that just like, sporadically throughout my training, those times wouldn't have been the best. So that's just to compare kind of like what my effort level was. But I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't tired for the next day. So keep it calm, keep it cool. It just became routine. And that definitely helped with how I was feeling, because I didn't let my brain catch on to the fact that I was tired. So guaranteed, mostly every day I woke up and my legs were like, yeah, no. But my brain was like, no, but we got to do it. So because I had that routine, it was easier to get into it. So even though I woke up feeling tired, as soon as I got on my bike or as soon as I started running, I was like, oh my God, look at that. You're another day into your long ramp and you're doing amazing. So yeah. And by now, if you have seen my other videos and kind of know who I am as a person, I am a huge optimist, and I truly believe that has helped me get to where I am today, because I always look at things on the brighter side, especially for training. So getting on my bike for my 7-hour day, I wouldn't look at it and think, holy crap, it has 30-kilometer-hour winds today. That means that I'm going to be in a headwind for this long. That means I might get sunburned. That means I'm going to be tired. That means I can't do this today. No, you think about it like, holy crap, I'm getting 7 hours of training in today. Do you know how much stronger I'm going to be tomorrow? Oh my goodness, the wind is 30 kilometers an hour. That means when I get a tailwind, I'm going to get launched by the wind. And then just feeding your brain with all of that confidence, motivation, positivity. Some people might be, if you're watching this and you're like, you are actually crazy, so be it. I deny nothing, but that's just how I work. As soon as I turn something positive, I'm like, woohoo, like, let's go. So that's just, I don't know, that's just who I am. Which brings me into my fifth and final point. I'm so sorry this is getting so long. It was bound to happen though. I'm not surprised. So my fifth and final point is how I push through. So I just talked about that, obviously. So using positivity, using all of that. But I don't know how to explain it. It was more just the way my brain started to function. And I know that that's very vague, because it's not something that I can kind of, not that I'm coaching any of you, but it's not something that I can like train anyone to think. But as soon as I started to get into routine with the type of training that I was doing, it was literally like I was in a state of limbo, is how I like to explain it. It's like my body would just do what my brain told it, but my brain would just do what it saw on the schedule. And there was no second guessing. There was no even thinking like, oh, why do I have to do this? Like nothing. Like I was literally like, I woke up, saw that I had to do a 160, and I was like, all right. And then I would just go and get my bottles ready, and then I'd be on the road. So that, I'm thinking, is just because I got into the routine, but I also think that it's because I became more confident in myself. So it wasn't one of those things where I would look and be like, oh, but this is gonna hurt. I don't know if I can do this. Like I knew I could do it. And I think that's why I made it so easy. I'm not sure. But there's that. And then especially for the longer stuff, because this was a longer week, times 4, kind of get me through those longer workouts. Like on my bike for 6 hours, what do you think about? I think about, like I've mentioned in previous videos, I think about stuff that gets me excited. I think about the fact that I am kicking butt at this training. I'm thinking about the fact that my Ironman is just over 30 days away and I'm crapping my pants. I'm so scared. But I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about running down the chute of that Ironman because Steve bought flags and everything. He's so excited. But anyways, I know that's going to happen. I'm thinking about the people that are supporting me and cheering me on and how grateful I am to have them in my support circles. I'm thinking about dinner, of course. I'm thinking about definitely one day wearing the leaf on my back and representing my country. All of these things are not only just getting me excited and giving me goosebumps and giving me like flooding my brain with endorphins and dopamine and all that stuff to help me keep going, but it's also giving me a reason and a purpose. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I'm actually thinking about stuff that I can achieve by doing what I'm doing in that moment. So on my 6-hour bikes, when I'm thinking about, finishing the Ironman, I'm thinking, holy crap, I'm dreaming about this right now, but I'm actually working towards it right now. Does that make sense? And as soon as you make those connections, it's just like, whew, it's amazing. It's so cool. But yeah, so there is one more thing that I briefly wanted to bring up. So a lot of people are asking me, especially now, how I'm feeling now that training has dropped. I would have expected to feel, you know, on top of the world, a little tired, but, you know, super strong because my training has gone down quite a bit. Like, I now have a 60K, a 60K, and a 120 for my rides. I have 10, 10, 20 for my runs. And then I have a 5K brick after my 120. That's it. Like, it's not a heavy week at all. But I am exhausted. I didn't even sleep last night. Like, I was supposed to do my 120 and a 5K brick today, but I couldn't. My calf cramped and I was like, nope. So I only did 60 and I'm doing my 120 tomorrow, but YOLO. So yeah, no, I'm cooked. I'm so tired. I don't know if it's because, like, you know, I'm just totally depleted, but I have no idea. I know I'm not burnt out because my brain is still like heave-hoeing. But yeah, so all that means is I just need to keep, you know, recovering properly after each of my days. And I'm still not pushing this week really hard. Like, I'm still doing just super casual. Like, my 10K earlier this week was like, you know, almost 6-minute Ks, which is not what I do. I usually do like 440s. So yeah, making sure I'm sleeping. But like I said, I didn't sleep last night, so it's fine. Eating properly, all that fun stuff, and hopefully next week we're back in gear. So I think that's all I have to say, surprisingly, 12 hours later. If you're still here, thank you so much. I really hope this video helped. I know it was a lot of me rambling, and yeah, it was just, that's basically all it was. But yeah, I hope it inspired some of you or motivated, or if you found like some tidbits for like recovery or eating, anything like that. I really hope this helped, and I hope you found it interesting. I had a lot of fun making it because, well, I actually don't even know why. Anyways, if you want to see more stuff like this, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. If, like I said, it'll most likely be down in the description box because I'm not tech savvy. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I hope you guys have a fantabulous day, and I will see you in my next video.